Hey there, how's it going? Adrienne Leese here. I thought I'd pop in and talk to you about the planets and the stars, what's going on right now. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for February 12th through 16th. So what we're feeling right now as we're coming up into this exact conjunction of Mars and in the end degrees of Aries and Uranus at the end degrees of Aries. So we're on the edge of an epic shifting. And, we've been talking about this shifting for so long, right? Years, decades. But what's going on here is that Uranus is about to move into the sign of Taurus. That's going to happen next month. And it did that last year in May, but then it retrograded back into Aries. And Chiron did the same thing. It moved from Pisces into Aries and then back into Pisces. And so we have Uranus and Chiron right now at the last degree of these signs. This is the last chapter before we move into a new chapter. And so we are heading into, so the intensity we're feeling right now has to do with Mars and Uranus. And, Mars is our action planet, our warrior. With Uranus, it becomes kind of a spiritual warrior, a warrior for information, a warrior for movement, and into the future. Remember last summer, we had that intense Mars retrograde in Aquarius, right? And so Mars now conjunct Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, in its home sign, Mars's home sign of Aries. Very activating of a lot of the things that started to roll into motion or maybe download into your life around those eclipses that happened in July of 2018. So we are on the edge. And so Uranus, both Mars and Uranus have this kind of nervous energy thing. They affect the physical body. And so together it's like really intense. But it's not so much like the frustration feeling we were feeling with Mars and Pluto interacting. This is a conjunction and they're kind of amplifying each other and they're kind of getting excited and they're kind of being like, hey, let's go. But Mercury has moved into the sign of Pisces, and the sun, will move into the sign of Pisces here on as we head into this full moon. So the full moon is happening on Tuesday, the 19th, and on that day, it's the full moon is at 0 degrees Virgo. Okay, so that means the sun will be at 0 degrees Pisces. So right at the day of this full moon is when the sun moves in to Pisces, but Mercury already will have moved into Pisces. And so we're heading into this Pisces energy, and it's potent because Mercury is taking a retrograde in Pisces for the whole month of March. Okay, so on the 19th of this day of this full moon is when Mercury goes into its retrograde shadow. It's also the day that Chiron moves into the sign of Aries. Okay, so when Chiron makes this shift and Uranus makes a shift into Taurus next month, they're not going to go back into the other signs. It's like we're actually moving into this new energy. So you can feel this with this Mars and Uranus energy together, kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Let's go. Let's move into the future. Let's listen to the messages. Let's do something new and innovative. Let's make something happen and see something happen. Such a huge desire for a feeling of movement right now, especially since all planets are direct. And, this is the interesting thing here. We've had all planets direct since the beginning of January. And now we're just about to move into this retrograde shadow of Mercury. Okay. And so Mercury's retrograde in Pisces is so incredibly profound. Okay. Because it turns retrograde on the 6th of March at 29 degrees Pisces. Okay. That's right where Chiron is right now. And so it's this Mercury retrograde makes something like 15 different transits with the other planets, because when planets go retrograde, they kind of go back over the areas relative to our perspective that they've already gone over. So they're going to hit these planets in angles. And Mercury, this Mercury retrograde is, I have never seen so many transits. It's like bing, 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 bing. So it's activating all of the astrology of 2019. So it is speaking about the energy of this year, this Mercury retrograde, but it's also starting at 29 degrees Pisces and going back into Pisces. So it's about this last 8 years of Aries, of Chiron in Pisces, and it's a lot about the last Piscean age. Now, Mercury is our day-to-day, everyday understanding and our basic concept of reality and our perspective. And so Mercury going retrograde into the past and bouncing around with all these other planets that are all about trying to figure out how to move forward. It's a changing of perspective. It's an opportunity for us to challenge the narrative that we've been fed about who we are. And a lot of the energies coming up around all of this right now have to do with Venus. And Venus is in Capricorn. So leading up to this full moon on Tuesday, Venus will be, and we're starting to feel that soon here, Venus in conjunction with Saturn. So we'll be feeling that for the full moon. And right after the full moon, Venus will be in a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn. And now Venus is still recovering, still learning, still trying to figure out what's going on from that Venus retrograde that happened in Scorpio at the end of 2018. So we're having these issues come up. Whatever came up for you with that Venus retrograde in Scorpio is now coming up right now, because Venus is coming up against the authoritarian rule of law energy, the reality check planets, planet of Capricorn, and then Pluto, the destroyer in Capricorn, the sign of our structures. So Venus is kind of like, she's got a brave face on her right now, but it's also serious work. And we're looking at, maybe with this Saturn sextile Neptune. Saturn is our manifested world. Neptune is our dreams and visions, that ruler of Pisces, but also our delusions. And so Saturn and Neptune in sextile is a very important transit. We're still feeling this, that was exact this month. And it is a transit about trying to bring our dreams into reality, and also how to, heal our delusions that are keeping us from doing that. So we've got a lot of energy right now with Mars and Uranus together and Saturn sextile Neptune. And it's like, okay, let's build something new, and Uranus moving into Taurus and Chiron moving into Aries. It's all like, okay, now it's finally happening, right? For a year, we had a false start. And now we're finally moving into it. But maybe, part of the Saturn sextile Neptune that's coming up for people right now is like confusion about what they want. Okay, so finally the energy's there to create something in their life. And now they're totally and utterly confused about what they want to create. It's like either too many directions to go in, or the direction you thought you wanted, for years you've been working in that direction that doesn't seem quite right. So it's like, oh, finally we're going to go somewhere. And now we lost the roadmap, because we've been going through so much fundamental changes in who we are over this last year of 2018. We don't know up from down right now. And we're still going to be in this place of confusion. But that's where this Mercury retrograde in Pisces, we're going to go deeper into the confusion. We're going to go deeper into the delusions of the stories we've been told about who we are, the narrative that we've been told through the Piscean age about us lowly humans. And we have to kind of go back into that energy again. But it's to get clarity and be released for good, and to complete, harmonize, and, make the most, get the information you need about what this chapter of Chiron and Pisces meant for you. And so this Mercury, it's a really important, potent time, but the stuff that's coming up with Venus and Capricorn is, do I deserve it? Can I have this? So a lot of people over these last few months, like glimpses of good things trying to come into their life, but blocking them because the old patterns are so strong. And this is where we have to challenge this narrative. We have to challenge this programming of what we've been told of the smallness of who we are. And so Venus represents our self-worth and our ability to receive. and abundance. And we have to address these issues right now. But right now, with Venus coming up with Saturn, it's like Saturn is the planet of time and limits and restrictions and kind of like, no, you can't, And so Venus is kind of like facing off with first Saturn and then Pluto right around this full moon. And these issues are coming up. What is holding you back from creating the life you want? The feelings that you don't know, you don't deserve it. And then, all this confusion that goes along with not really knowing what you want. Because if you adjust your idea of your abundance and your worth and your gifts, see, this is the thing that Venus represents, and that retrograde in Scorpio really triggered for all of us, is like, do we deserve to have the life we want? Or are we here for another paradigm? And this agenda, this narrative, this other paradigm is coming up for review huge right now. So many opportunities to break out of the chains and the pattern of patterned thinking. Uranus is the great disruptor. And so with Mercury there, with Mars coming up with it, Mars wants to take action on whatever it's coming up against. And so it's like time to question and break down and sort out the truth of you from the lies that you've been told. Because I'll guarantee you, those lies that you bought into, maybe over lifetimes or through family belief systems and early childhood and a combination of all these things, that is what's keeping you from creating the life that you want. And so when these beliefs, so that's what's kind of coming up for review right now. It's a feeling of like, gosh, I'm just so ready to do it, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I don't know if I deserve it. And I don't know if I can overcome these patternings, that keep pulling me back down into the smallness of me, into the blocking energies, to the obstruction, to the self-sabotage. This is programming in our field that has happened in the collective, in our DNA over lifetimes, and from our early childhood experiences. And so all of it's coming up for review, but it's really good because we're getting somewhere. And when the fabric of these patterns breaks down, that's when we get to actually move forward. So we think that moving forward is creating something manifested in this world that we can show to other people, right? Say, look, I did this, right? But no, forward motion is when you can feel, happens when you feel free of the limited paradigm thinking. And so it's coming up right now. And everywhere that you don't feel worthy, where you don't believe it's possible, where you are confused about your role. A lot of people, indigo souls, crystal seeds, and light worker souls, they just have this huge feeling like they're here for a reason, a very specific reason, and have a destiny. And yet the very gifts and talents and skills that are theirs, that they would need to fully execute their full potential, they can't quite receive, right? So when we're not receiving abundance, we're in poverty consciousness. That's because we're disconnected from who we really are as cosmic source. We're disconnected also from beautiful skills and talents and gifts that we have available to us from all of our work over many lifetimes. And so the moving forward that we're doing right now is receiving who we really are. That goes right along with this Uranus moving into Taurus and these spiritual energies trying to land in the physical world. We're trying to land home in our physical bodies in this life right here, right now. And things have been weird. We've got all this timeline stuff going on, and that's continuing. But the thing behind it all, which is one beautiful thing about this Mars-Uranus transit, is that you can feel energy. Uranus is about energy, and Mars is about power energy, like physical energy in the physical body. and Uranus is like higher vibrational energies. And so there's a lot of energy, right? And that life force, that creative life force, that flow, that feeling connected, that is a little bit more, actually way more available than it's been in a very long time. So as much as you might be confused and you got your stuff coming up around these belief systems that are holding you back from your potential, there's an opportunity here to kind of put all of the stories aside and grab a hold of this energy and remember that we are vibrational powerhouse consciousness incarnated in a body, and we have full and complete access to the energy that we need to create the life we want and to heal our bodies and to heal our world. And this is the big lie that we have that's been hidden from us, and the big truth that has been hidden from us through lies. And so tap into this energy, grab a hold of it, use this life force. A lot of the energy is that the life force is available to us, but way more if we can honor the expression of it in our physical body. And so a lot of self-care is necessary right now. We're going through a lot of DNA changes, huge purges still, karmically, physically. And so it's really important to just take care of yourself and nurture yourself through these changes. Help yourself adjust to what's happening right now. It is beyond anything we can comprehend. What's happening right now in timelines, what's happening to our earth, to our consciousness, in our process. And so we don't get to know, but we can feel the energy. And the more you can feel the energy of that vibrant source energy, you can kind of just have that bigger picture and the memory of like, oh gosh, this is such a bigger story. And that's available to us with this Mars-Uranus transit. So I hope that you can reach out and grab a hold of that energy, bring it into your life. You deserve it. It's your birthright. It's who you are by definition of being consciousness. And the world changes when we take this power back and learn to express it, to grab a hold of it and not be scared of it, and claim it for who we really are, and so this is coming up everywhere with these Venus transits in Capricorn. It's like, okay, so what's blocking you? What says no, you can't, and then there's that feminine part in all of us, the weak part, the victimized part of all of us that's kind of been rolled over by authority energies in our past lives. And now it's time, Venus is kind of saying, hey, I'm scared. I'm not sure what I want. But I'm going to face this. I'm going to face this. I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to be strong. Until I remember how powerful I am and that I have this access to me as a member of the consciousness, as just the definition of having a body with consciousness incarnated in it. Maybe I'll just I'll have to talk myself through it, until I really feel the energy and, coax myself back into this power, into this confidence. And, but the whole energy now is it's a really good time to start telling yourself different stories, notice, take note of the stories that have been holding you back in this kind of prison construct of these paradigms, of these belief systems and programming. Recognize that they're not at all in alignment with the truth of who you are, and start telling yourself a new story. And together we'll do that for this 2019. So I look forward to seeing you soon next time. Hang in there. It's such an interesting and crazy time. At least it doesn't feel quite as stuck, but definitely we're still having the things come up that are needing to be addressed as far as these programming and belief systems that are keeping us in our prison and of the past. So it's all still up for review. That means we're all still rearranging. Mercury is in this upcoming retrograde, is pinging all over the place, hitting all of these planets. And so we are in a massive restructuring of our everyday reality and our conception and perceptions. So it's a really, really awesome, dynamic time to change your thinking, but it can also feel like, who am I and what's going on? And so just kind of know that it's not going to make a lot of sense, you know, for this next period of time. It's about getting rid of, you know, what we thought made sense, you know, and there's a period of time where nothing makes sense until you figure out your next set of truths. And we're all going through this right now on a massive level, internally and personally, individually, and in the collective consciousness. So it's a crazy but also amazing time. So tap into that energy of like the glimpses, the confirmations, the synchronicities that are coming through to confirm that, you know, you are, this consciousness is not just this physical world and the expressions therein. It's this magical living universe that we get to be a part of and manifested physically as that consciousness. So I look forward to seeing you. I will be doing an activation for the full moon on Monday, Monday the 18th. So I look forward to seeing you then. So until next time, I'm Adrienne Melise. Namaste.